Welcome to Kathryn Raaker's World. Innovation, culture, adventure, fashion and health, artists, destinations, traditions, this is Kathryn Raaker's World.
Hi, this is Kathryn Raaker of Kathryn Raaker's World. Our guest today is Andy Healy. He joined the TEFL or TEFL org with over 20 years experience in the publishing sector, most recently building market-leading consumer brands for immediate media and BBC magazines. He plans to use his expertise to grow the business across international markets, particularly in the US. He has a recent press release that just came out, and it says the TEFL org or TEFL org announces 2023 influx in international demand for teachers of English as a second language. And that's under perweb.com. I want to welcome you to the show because I can remember, and I want to thank you for your mission, because British English is really the right way to go. Am I correct?
Oh, you're starting off with something contentious. Well, I might say that. But, you know, there are plenty of people around the world speaking a version of English, so it's all becoming acceptable. But yes, coming from England, that's the English I learned.
Right. Well, let me tell you, when I first got there, they had no idea when I came to England what I was saying at all. Especially like vitamins instead of vitamins, aluminium instead of aluminum. And I'll never forget, I have to share this with you because I think it's so funny, because we're talking about English and teaching. And so, and I used to be a teacher, by the way, just to let you know. Okay. But the best one was that when I wanted to put screens on the windows, because we were living on a farm that was a hunting lodge at one time, historical. And I don't like flies at all. Okay. So I said, I wanted to put screens, and they said, mean for your larder? I said, no, not for the larder, for the windows.
You got to keep them flies out, especially when you're in the countryside.
I started to, people are using screens in England now, thanks to Kathryn Raaker.
You brought the screens. Well, thank you, Kathryn, and thank you for having me on the show.
Well, I thought I started off like that because I think after living there and going to school there, and my children going to school there and living in England, it was the best experience of my life, and I adopted England. So let's talk about why is working with TEFL org. Did I say that correctly?
TEFL org.
TEFL.
Yeah. TEFL. Yeah.
TEFL org. Why is working with TEFL org an optimal way to learn English as a second language?
Yeah, it's a good question. So, TEFL is an acronym for Teaching English as a Foreign Language, and sometimes you might come across other terms like TESOL or ESL or TEFL or EFL. So there's a bunch of different terms, but they all mean the same thing, which is teaching English as a foreign language. And we've designed a range of TEFL courses, which essentially enable people all over the world to certify as teachers of English, and they can do that online or they can do that overseas. So what we do is we teach teachers, because there's such a huge demand globally for English as a language, because, you know, fortunately for us, having been born here, it's become the language of business all over the world. And so there are between 1.5 and 2 billion English learners at any one time around the world. So there's that huge demand within the market, and they need to be taught, and they need to be taught well. So we stepped into this market and kind of created these great courses. So yeah, as a business, that's what we do, and we help people who might not be sure about where to go, what to do next, and we offer them teaching and placements, and we can help you find work in either the US or abroad. And like I said, you can do a lot of online teaching these days. So since the pandemic, I think it's become the norm, online learning. So we've seen great growth, and where we've seen particularly strong growth has been in the US. So we're really kind of doubling down in terms of our business presence there.
Does that mean you may come over? May you come over when that happens? Is that what you plan on doing?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have an office space there yet, but we do come over a fair bit. I was in DC last week, and some colleagues were in LA. So we're kind of, you'll see us around over the next couple of years.
Right, that's good, because I think that's really important, especially now. I think students really need, there's certain things they really need, and English is very important. Mathematics, I mean, there's certain things that we really need to strive for. History,
absolutely.
Yes, American history, British history, world history. Yeah, because I can't quite understand some of these kids today, or college students today. I have no idea where they are. They're really whatever. And there's certain things I think have to be taught in order to be a well-rounded citizen, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And history's one
I mean, if I could come back to England in 2 minutes, I'd be there.
Well, you're very welcome, Kathryn, anytime.
Oh, I'd love to come back. I mean, there are so many things that I love about England, I can't even tell you. Why is working with TEFL.org? It's .org, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
Why is working with TEFL.org an optimal way to learn English as a second language?
Yeah. I mean, the importance of English now in the world is it's never been more so, because it's the international language of business. So I think the actual courses that we provide are sort of the top-notch accredited teaching courses. So it allows students all over the world to learn how to be a teacher. And that's amazing, because we've got this constant supply of new teachers coming in, and we've taught over 200,000 now in the world, and all of those teachers go out into the world, and they're either teaching online or they're teaching in person, face-to-face classes, and they're helping students on their path to becoming stronger English speakers. And that's really important, because it helps them become part of their communities, it helps them progress within the world of business, and it helps them communicate. So I think that's one of the big driving missions for us at the moment, is to sort of help people increase their skills within English, so that they can then go and do things that they wanted to do in the world. And if you think about the US, there's a huge amount of non-native speakers in the US, and that's kind of replicated around the world. So if they want to assimilate the culture and they want to become part of the community, they need to be able to have a good grasp of English. So yeah, that's one of the things that drives us, is trying to make sure that we have the best courses available, and we teach as many people as possible.
Tell me what you look for, what qualities you look for in teachers for TEFL.
So we have lots of different courses, and they're very accessible, and the majority you can complete online. So in terms of qualities, I think you need to be essentially eager. You need to be inquisitive and curious, and you want to learn. And sometimes as a teacher, you'll know yourself, you never stop learning as you go. So sometimes it's just important to have that constant curiosity to improve and to find different ways of getting your message across to your classroom. You know, you'll know from your experience that you'll have a classroom full of children or adults, and everybody learns in a slightly different way, and you have to be able to capture their imagination, and otherwise it doesn't sink in, you know, and people don't learn. So that's one of the things that we teach is the ability to create great lesson plans once they're in the classroom, and really engage their students. So qualities wise, I would say, yeah, you need to be eager, you need to have that curiosity, that inquisitiveness, and also be adaptable. So,
right.
you know, be open to change.
So are you looking for people in the United States that are British? Is that what you're looking for?
No, I mean, we're looking for anybody, so you don't necessarily have to be British. You know, a big part of our audience now and our student base are not English, they're not British, and they're not native English speakers. So, you know, they've learned how to speak English to such a good degree that now they want to be able to teach it and help their communities.
Right.
So it was the case. Yeah, it was very, very kind of British and English speaking country specific, but now it's kind of spread all over the world, and you know, we sell in over 100 countries.
Is there an average TEFL student in terms of age, main occupation, and level of schooling? Can they be as young as a teenager, or do they have to be in their 20s or whatever? Tell me.
No, we've got a real mix of backgrounds and ages. I'd say like our top three segments, if you like, in terms of people, are graduates, so current students or university graduates. That's quite a big section of our audience, and many of them don't have vocational degrees. They just want to kind of broaden their horizons. They want to enrich their lives through learning. And so a lot of the time, you know, they come to the end of their degree and they're not entirely sure what to do, and TEFL can help them take steps in that direction. And just find a viable stopgap sometimes, you know, what's next. Even if it doesn't become a lifelong career, the beauty of doing a TEFL course is that you suddenly have this option of traveling the world, going to far-flung places and enjoying new cultures, but also earning money at the same time. So it helps to fund that kind of travel. So that's a really big part of our market, are these graduates. And most of the time you do need to have a degree in order to be accepted as a teacher in a school. But, you know, there are occasions and there are some places where that's not necessarily the case.
Right. You know, I love the idea of these teachers get to travel, correct?
Yeah.
To different countries, right? And I had to learn so many languages when we moved around. I was like, learning Turkish was tough. But you know what? I have to tell you this. Do you know where I learned the most? From the waiters in the hotel. Because they were patient. They were patient. And I think, doesn't that have something to do with the two patients working with different
100%.
students?
Yeah.
Especially people that are older.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. I mean, that's probably, and thank you for picking up, because I missed that out. I think it is probably the most important thing, being able to, while you're teaching, being able to go at the speed of the people in your classroom, you know, and patience is hugely important.
And I learned a lot from kids still.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that that's important if you can handle that. Do many teachers incorporate travel during their time with TEFL?
Yeah, no, I think it's a good point. I'd say that travel, for the vast majority, is something that would be important for them and happen as part of their journey in some form or another. You know, I think depending on where they're from, and how long their teaching contract is. There are plenty of opportunities around the world where they can travel outside of teaching. So, weekend breaks, celebrating kind of local holidays. And sometimes what students will do when they've become teachers and they found a placement, let's say in South Korea or Vietnam or Japan, they'll then tack on at the end of their contract a few weeks or a month or so to do more traveling while they're there to make the most of that time. So I think that's something that's very, very popular. Really exciting.
Singapore is, is a wonderful place. Do you send them to Singapore as well?
Absolutely. Yeah. Singapore's a big, very popular place. Yeah. A big winner for our students.
Do you do a relocation program with your students before they go to any of these other locations?
So we give lots. We have part of one of our USPs as a business is we have lots of teachers who have done the travel, and they're either working for us as tutors and where they do the marking of assignments or face-to-face classes, or they're actually within the business working within marketing and advertising and all the different areas. So we like to have a huge sort of representation of people who've done it, been there, experienced it, because then they can give the right advice. And so we really pride ourselves on having that level of student support that is unrivaled. And that means that when somebody wants to go and travel abroad and they want to go and find a placement, we can kind of hold their hands up to a point. And, we have lots and lots of partnerships all around the world with schools. So we can help people find placements, we can help find internships, or just just point them towards our jobs board, and there's always loads of opportunities around the world. So yeah, I mean, we're there all the way through the process to help them.
Is there an age requirement?
Usually it's over 18, and the preference is to have a degree. So you're probably looking at around sort of 21 as being the starting point. But like I said, there are opportunities for people who don't have a degree. But the majority of the places where we would send students do. And then the top end, no. I mean, we've had a huge rise in retirees taking TEFL courses because it's a great way of helping your community, and it's a great way of giving something back, especially now with lots and lots of areas where there are refugees and where there's sort of big levels of migrations. You have to look after and try and help where you can. And I think lots of people are doing that and taking a course so that they can go specifically to a place and teach as volunteers. So that's a big element that's been growing over the last few years.
A lot of it is done online, am I correct?
That's right, yeah.
Okay, so if somebody wanted to do that online, I have a perfect candidate for you. Absolutely. Yes, I do.
Send them our way.
How has the level of demand been for teachers in 2023?
Oh, it's been phenomenal. Yeah, we've seen such a big increase. I think partly, it's post-pandemic, and during the pandemic, people had to change careers, or there were businesses closing. The tech industry, have had huge numbers, thousands of redundancies in certain areas. And so people are then looking for a new career. And I think TEFL is one of those things that it's pure gold in that it's so accessible. It's not hugely expensive. For a couple of $100, you can get our 120-hour course, which is the minimum certification you'd need to get a job. And you can fit that around your current job, or, you can do it in the evenings. You don't have to do it full time because it's self-paced. You do it online. So I think that's what's the real, and I'm biased because it's our business, but I think that's the real beauty of it, is that you can change your career. And it doesn't take, 6 months worth of training and $5,000. It's accessible for most people. So yeah, I mean, I think that's probably one of the main reasons why we've seen such great growth, but also because, like I said, business English is really, really important.
Extremely important. Extremely important. I think.
And it hasn't changed, and so that supply and demand is still there.
You sound like you love it.
I love it. I think it's such a fun place to work. It's such a fun place to be as well, because we speak so much to all of these graduates and these students who are going out into different places in the world, and hearing their stories, I just think is so rejuvenating, and it's so nice. I'm sat here at my desk, but I know that I can go and speak to, hundreds of our students and hear their amazing stories about the classroom they've just taught in China, or
Right.
wherever they are, and there's always just wonderful experiences to tap into. So we do podcasts and we do blogs and create loads of content about those graduate stories, because I think they're the bit that's really inspiring, to see other people doing it.
In order to really enjoy life, learning is really so important. And I have to say this about Britain. It was the best experience, my second home. I can't even tell you how patient they were with this American girl that they couldn't understand until they taught me how to do it.
Yeah.
And how to pronounce things. And, there's so many accents in England, right?
Yeah.
And Suffolk is country.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
And the little towns like Woodbridge and Ipswich and all those wonderful places, you learn so much. And when I go into another country, and I just want to tell you this, when I go into another country, I adapt them and they adopt me. I am not that ugly American that goes in and takes over the world. I want to learn, and you're never too old to learn.
No.
True. And I can't wait for you to come to the States. How about that?
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I love the States. I love traveling in America.
Well,
but I think you have the right approach to travel. You have to be open, and you have to be ready to learn and ready to listen.
It has been an absolute pleasure, an honor for me to have you on my show, Andy.
The pleasure and the honor was all mine. Thank you so much, Kathryn.
Where can people go to get information and maybe apply to TEFL?
Yeah, absolutely.
Where can they do that? Can you give me your website?
Yeah, so it's TEFL.org. So TEFL.org, O-R-G. And that's it. You go online, you can do a quick quiz if you're not sure what sort of course you want to do, and it will point you in the right direction. But all the information is on the website, and you can purchase the courses and you can start immediately. So yeah, that's where we are. Come and visit.
I know we will, definitely, and we'll put it up on our website as well. And you'll be all over both my radio and television shows. And
thank you very much.
I can't even thank you so much. And if they want to apply for a position, where do they go? To TEFL?
Same website, TEFL.org. Yeah,
okay.
all within that site.
That's great. So can I ask you one more question before we leave? How long are the courses usually?
So the minimum is 120 hours, and you can complete that, I would say, probably within 3 weeks, if you're doing it fairly fast. But some people, they'll take a few months. But the point is, you can do it at your own pace. Right.
And if they want to reach you concerning a position, what do they do? Go up online as well?
So go up online. We've got plenty of people on our teams you can chat with. And if you want to reach me, you can reach me via the website as well. And we'd love to hear from you. Okay.
And thank you so much for joining me on Kathryn Raaker's World. And that is Kathryn Raakers world.com, or let's just talk.com, or thechefyouandI.com. So we really enjoyed having you. And thank you so much for joining me today.